think we're good if you just want to go ahead.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Macy. I'm a second-year student at the Yale Online program. So second year meaning I'm in my clinical year right now.
Cool. Okay. So let's jump back and just give a little background on how you got to the decision of becoming a PA in the first place.
Okay. I've actually
Yale, but we'll get there.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go into medicine. When I was 6 years old, I was in a car accident, and it left me with like a skull fracture and like punctured lung. It was really bad. And it was on Thanksgiving. So I always was like, wow, the person that did my surgery, he gave up Thanksgiving to, come in and take care of me. And I always said, I'm going to do the same thing, pay it back and take care of people who can't take care of themselves. I worked really hard to, prepare for, a life in medicine. And it wasn't until after graduation from undergrad that I realized that the PA role was better suited for me. And so I took 2 years off to work and get myself prepared, because I was kind of switching courses at that point. I was considering medical school, but I don't think this question is related to why PA, but yeah.
Good. I mean, that's a lot of people. I think to become a PA, you have to have considered medical school. I don't think you necessarily have to have considered nursing, but I think it's in everyone's mind, they're very similar. So it makes sense.
Yeah, this is true.
So you took a couple of gap years after undergrad, got all your experience, all that. It came time to apply to PA school. How did you choose where you were going to apply, and what did your application process look like?
I actually applied twice. For the first year, I got only one interview after 17 applications. I didn't get in after that interview. And so I just, had to start everything over. And it wasn't until the second time that I discovered the Yale PA Online program, because there's the directory, PAEA, where you just click on a state and all the schools drop down. So I clicked on Connecticut and I saw something that I didn't see last time. And so as soon as I saw that, I was just like, wow, this is, this is the game changer. And so apart from Yale PA Online, which has its own application, I applied to the same 15 other schools. And the big thing for me, at that time I was getting engaged. So my husband was applying to MBA programs as well. So we were both trying really hard to end up in the same state, and it wasn't working out. Where I was getting interviews, he wasn't. And so I was like, I can either get married and then we'd be long distance, or I could just, if the Yale program works out, I could go where he goes. And that's exactly what happened. I got 6 interviews this cycle, 3 acceptances, 1 being Yale Online. The other 2 would mean that we'd be long distance. And so the choice was really clear for me. It sounds like it's if it weren't, it sounds like a superficial sort of reason, but if it weren't for Yale, I wouldn't be able to have the sort of personal life that I really, really wanted. And if you ask the other Yale PA students why they chose Yale, they'll say for personal reasons as well. They didn't want to uproot their life. They didn't want to leave their families, or they'd say something like, the closest PA program is 200 miles away, and, things like that. So that was my reasoning. That was my, goal behind the online program.
Okay, cool. No, I mean, I think that's completely valid. I made the choice to get married during PA school because that was something that was really important to me, even though it was very discouraged. My program did not really support that, but it was something that, I wasn't willing to put my personal life on hold really either. So I think that's reasonable.
I actually got married during the program, so it was great. I had a honeymoon and everything.
Perfect. So Yale is in Connecticut. Yeah?
Yeah.
So where are you, and where would you say your classmates are? Everywhere?
Yeah. So in the first year, we were not accepting applications from all of the U.S. So there was only 12 states that could apply. And Texas, where I was born and raised, is one of them. Other states were California, New York, Florida, South Dakota, Montana. Trying to think where everyone is. Texas is a big one. A lot of people are from Texas, but
that's interesting.
So
Texas has a lot of programs.
Yeah. It was. So then halfway through the program, I got to move to Boston because that's where my husband got his MBA. So without the program, I would not have obviously been able to, move midway through.
Yeah. Okay, that's definitely a perk.
Yes.
So going into the very first class of Yale Online, were you nervous at all?
Yeah. I was, it's like a yes or no question, because it's like, no, yes, I'm nervous because there's no one to talk to, no one to get their experiences from, and like, how was this, how was that? But then no, because the name really just stood out for me. And two, the program director, he was the director for the on-campus program for like forever. And then he has actually started several programs of his own, and he has review books, and he's really well known in the community. And so because of him and because of, just the name itself, I was like, okay, this can't really be that bad. It's Yale.
There you go. How does the admissions process work? Because it's interesting that you've been through both. So you know how the normal CASPA interviewing, all that, is it similar or is it different?
It's the same, essentially, just its own platform. I'm not really sure why they don't use CASPA, but you still have to submit, your transcripts, you have to submit your GREs and your GPAs, and submit the same information, as well as essays and things like that. And it's the same. We had interviews as well. Of course, they were online, like on Skype, which makes for like a different experience. The person that interviewed me was like in sweat. So I thought that was really, it was so chill. It was, of course I was wearing like my suit top, and I was freaking out because I'm like, I've never done this before. What if my audio doesn't work? But I mean, it was the same sort of thing. You still feel nervous. But they were really relaxed. I think they were trying to make us feel relaxed from, it's a new thing.
Yeah.
So
a whole different. Okay. So pretty similar.
Yeah.
So some of the questions we got is kind of, and I think probably the easiest way to jump into this would be, what does a school week look like for you? Now that you're on clinicals, we'll get into that. But as far as didactic, what does your schooling look like?
So the big thing that I want to point out first is you don't just get like pre-recorded lectures from the PA program. They have this really high-tech software where they've recreated videos just for us. So let's say it's day one. Everyone starts in dermatology in the program. So day one of dermatology. So you'll learn all the skin conditions that day, and then maybe the next day you'll learn the pharmacology behind it. And so it's a systems-based approach. Every day you have a certain amount of material you have to review by yourself. And so that could be 4 hours of lecture, it could be 2 hours, it could be 1. And so then, so you say day one, I've done everything I need to do for that day. The next day you have your live lecture. So you meet with your group of like 10 to 12 people, you meet with your facilitator, and it's problem-based learning, meaning you discuss a case with your group, and by the end of the week, you should have come up with a diagnosis and the treatment and the plan. And of course, the case is germ related. So hopefully that answers. There's 7 classes total. So depending on what subject you're in, like if you're in cardiology, on day one, maybe you'll learn the clinical medicine behind heart failure, and maybe you'll learn a little bit of like the basic science and the anatomy. On day 2, you'll throw in some like pharm. Day 3, they'll throw in maybe the diagnostic studies and the patient assessment. And so by the end of the week, you should be really familiar with just like a couple of the cardiology topics. And then, the block is 4 weeks for that particular topic that you're studying. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, that definitely helps. So we were systems based. So we kind of the same thing. We had 2 weeks of derm where we go to lectures and do that. Is everyone on the same subject, or are you on different subjects?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's together. Everyone's on the
Everyone's doing the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So how much, I guess, of it is independent study where it's on your time? So you decide I wake up at 6 a.m. and do this, versus there's a set time that you have to sit there and be present. I'd
say like 75% is my my time. Okay. So like I have to do. They give us a schedule beforehand. So let's say Tuesday I have 5 hours of lecture. Then Tuesday I can't go to a doctor's appointment. Wednesday I have 1 hour. So you just break it up that way. And then 3 times a week you have your live classes where you meet in person for 2 hours and you discuss your case. So A lot of it is like you are your own boss kind of thing. You make your own schedule, but you have to complete everything by that day and by that week. And if you have assignments and quizzes, those all have to be done, on schedule as well. So you can't just like say, I'm going to do everything on a Friday and play the rest of the other days.
And do they assign the times? Like, do you have any say in when no, they just tell you, you got to be online at this time?
Oh yeah. Sorry for the live classes.
Yeah.
So they do like a poll.
Okay.
If someone has kids, they're not going to make us do it at 8 a.m. because they'll have to be dropping up their kids or, things like that. So usually like around lunchtime, we have our meetings.
Okay, cool. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
How does it feel as a student? I mean, I don't know the right way to phrase this. Do you feel like you're getting a comprehensive, like full PA school experience, or do you feel lonely? Do you feel connected?
Yeah. This question comes up a lot, and I was worried about the same thing. I'm a very social person. I love to be around people, and my undergrad was 40,000 kids, and like I had a lot of friends, and I had to think about like, what did I really want out of PA school? Did I want to go and make friends? Did I want the whole experience? And then I thought, well, I already had that in undergrad. And then you have to kind of be able to separate the two and be like, am I willing to give up the whole school experience to be able to make this work? Because a lot of people, Yale was their only option. They weren't going to move so and so many miles, to go to PA school. And so I had to mentally make that separation that I wasn't going to have like the full experience. There actually was 2 other classmates from Houston, so I got to see them and like hang out with them, and it kind of felt like they were just like my best friends. And when you're in school, you make your best friends, and that's who you hang out with. So that part was okay. As far as like, we communicate through like Facebook, and we see each other online, and we have our text messages. So it's not like we're not talking to each other. We are. It's just in a different mode. It's different, and a lot of the people are older. So they were able to kind of make that separation, I feel like, because certain things were more important, like their families and things like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How often do you have to go to the actual campus?
So we go once a week, every quarter. So, one time for a whole week.
Gotcha.
Every quarter. Yeah. So we went in March, then we went in December. So that's from 2018. And then we won't be going again until we graduate.
Okay. How does that work? Do you find your own housing, or do they like put you up somewhere or get a hotel?
They get us a pretty good rate at a hotel where we're all there together, and it's like pretty cheap if you share it with your classmates. And obviously we have to pay for our plane tickets, but it's, a one-time thing. You don't have to think about it for like another 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How many students are in your class?
We have 41.
Okay.
And I think we wanted to have 50, but they didn't fill the class because they were very picky, I guess.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel are your connections with your faculty members?
It's great. Jim, his name is James Van Reed, but he goes by Jim. I can literally email him at 11:30 on accident because, we're all up just like doing whatever we have to do. And he'll respond within the next 2 minutes. And so he's always there for you. The core faculty, there's 4 or 5 of them that you can do the same thing and email them and talk to them. And they're all like really funny and down to earth, and they're just there for you. And they all really, really wanted to make this program work. So they're really, into it and involved and there for you. So I really appreciated that from the faculty.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How does testing work?
Testing. So I think a lot of people think that it's going to be easy, but there's a program called Proctor Tract. You have to download it. And if you like look off the screen, if you look down, if your head moves, anything, it flags you. So, I mean, it records your screen, and then, you can't even, like, if I needed to look at my watch, that would flag me. And so it's a really, really tough system. And that's how we take our exams. They're at home, they're scheduled. You have to take them within a certain period of the day. And then everyone gets their scores like the next day, basically.
Okay, cool. one question that actually came from a PA, and I think she did some video or lectures or something for the program. Her question was, how do you learn physical exam?
Yeah, this question comes up a lot. So in the first 2 months, we start in January. So January, February, our patient assessment professor sends us videos of full physical exams. And so that when we come in March, we'll have seen the videos. In March, we practice it on each other. We get graded. We do the whole checkoff. And then throughout the rest of the year, based on whatever subject we're on, so if we're on pulmonology, we'll have to record ourselves doing a full lung exam on like our husband, our kid, our parents. And then we send it to our professor. And then she asks, or she gives us feedback. If she doesn't like it, we have to redo it. So I actually had to do like my neuro exam 3 times. But yeah, that's basically every block we have to record ourselves doing it. And I personally liked it because there was like no classmates there to laugh at me, make fun of me if I messed up. And it was just my husband, and he had no idea what was going on. But I did appreciate the feedback that we got back from it, as well as like all the practice we had in person on immersion. So that's how that's done. And then I'm not sure if you know about SEED. It's something we do in the 3rd month of our program. It's called Clinical Experience Early Education. So we actually get to go and work in primary care offices from March until December. So 9 months of our didactic year, we're going once a week to practice these clinical skills, because just like everyone's thinking, how the heck do you learn these skills in an online program? So we're learning them with a preceptor in a primary care clinic. And so I got tons of practice by working with real patients. And I think that's pretty unique to the program as well.
Yeah. I mean, my program, we had a small group. So we had lecture Monday, Wednesday, Friday, some on Tuesday, Thursday. And those Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we were there 8 to 5, basically, during lecture. And then we had small group either on Tuesday or Thursday where we would practice on each other and do our physical exam. And then we would go maybe once or twice a month in with clinic with one of our faculty members. So we got a little bit of exposure during didactic year. And we kind of all just took turns doing that. How does that work with setting up preceptors? Do you have to find that person, or does Yale help you?
Of course, the help is nice, but they don't. It's against regulations for us to find our own site. So they do find it for us. I got lucky because someone in Houston had worked with a PA for several years, and they were really good friends. And so he got us set up with him. But if you don't know anyone, it's not a big deal. They have like a huge workforce of people on the clinical side that will find you a site for you. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you're done with didactic year. Moving on to clinical year, how does that work?
The same way as, I guess, a normal program would work. It's just wherever you are, your clinical placement team will start looking during didactic year to, start filling up your sites. And I guess the only difference is maybe you're not with your classmates, like unless you all live together. I feel like normal PA programs, there's always going to be someone there that you know. And that, I haven't been with any classmates yet.
Yeah, they kept us separate on rotation. So I never had another PA student with me. There were a couple where I had NP students from like different programs. They kept us like one PA per preceptor, which that's good. I don't know if all programs do that. I know med schools don't necessarily. So I guess, what are your options? I mean, do you stay kind of around where you are, or if you wanted to go other places?
Yeah, so like I said, I moved to Boston, but I've gone back once now to Houston. I've already been to Connecticut just because I wanted to do a rotation there. I might be going back to Houston, and there's people that are like traveling around to California and Florida and things like that, just based on their interests. And so they are really, really open to helping you. That's literally their only job, to find you a clinical placement. So they don't really mind if you have preferences, or if you have a classmate in New York and you want to stay with them for a month, go ahead. So it's really, kind of whatever you want, they make it happen.
That's awesome. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts so far as where you'll end up or what you want to do?
So I worked in Durham for 2 years before PA school, and obviously I love Durham. It's very, yeah,
Everyone loves
you're,
Jeff.
yeah, it's very hands-on and procedural, and I like the relationship aspect of it and like changing people's lives and things like that. Like you don't think that happens in Durham, but it does. Just look at someone who's asked me.
There's a lot of was it instant gratification and
Yeah,
appreciate. People can see
yeah,
when they get better, and that's different.
yeah. That's a good
Making
feeling.
someone's blood pressure better, and they don't really appreciate it. So
Yeah, yeah. But with my like childhood history, I'm also thinking about peds. So we'll see what happens.
okay, cool. Um, on rotations, or I guess just in general, what have you faced any judgment or
Mm,
backlash from going to an online program? I know there's a lot of debates about it online, and I mean I've put
yeah,
it before. I don't know if I honestly have a strong opinion. I think going to a traditional program, it's hard for me to understand how it would be possible, but with everything you're explaining, it sounds like a great option. And
hmm,
I think it's just so new that it's one of those things that people are unsure of. People get a little on the
yeah,
fence as far as they see all these NP programs and
hmm,
don't want the PA profession to move towards kind of
yeah.
factories of PAs. But yeah, what has your experience been with that?
Um, in the beginning, I was a little worried to tell people just because of, like you said, the stigma that comes behind the word. Um, but my family and friends are very supportive, and so that was the first hurdle. That's the biggest one, I think, because those are the people that are in your life all the time. And then, as you know, I'm on the Instagram community, and those everyone there has been very supportive and kind as well. And I think the biggest issue comes with the people that you don't know. So like the random people on Facebook that you accidentally engage with on like a Facebook argument or
I'd be careful in those Facebook groups.
yeah, they can. The people that it's mostly that they just don't know what it is, and they're not familiar, and they're thinking, how can you do rotations online? How can you do physical exams online? And so it's not that those are online. We have ways of getting that done, and I think the program would be better suited as called a hybrid because that is exactly what it is. Um, as far as on my rotations, no one has questioned it or said anything to me. I don't know if it's because they're being polite or they just don't have an opinion about it. But it's hard, I think, because there was even there's always going to be someone that doesn't like change or doesn't like new things, and you just have to be prepared to give them knowledge and give them the facts and explain how this can be possible. Um, yeah, it's very regulated. The ARCPA doesn't allow us to beg for sites. You can't go find your sites.
Yeah.
So it's not comparable to what the stereotypes are for an online program. They're not just turning kids in and out. We didn't even fill our class. And so I would just say if you're in this position and you're worried about what people are going to think, just don't worry about it because it's your life. It's not theirs. They're just going to talk about it no matter what. Until they're taught and presented facts. So.
Yeah, then they might still talk about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay, I want to ask this last question. Now that you've been through a lot of the program, what type of student or person do you think this program would be great for? And what type of student or person do you think should not pursue this?
This is a good question because my husband says all the time, I could never do what you do. All the time, because if this is what I have to do when I'm in didactic year. I have to wake up on my own at 8 a.m., no class to go to. I don't have to drive anywhere. I just have to walk to my desk. So that means that it's good for a self-starter. It's good for someone who's independent, who's mature, who is motivated, and it's not good for someone who like needs someone to tell them what to do. Does that make sense? Like. Some people need the discipline of being in a classroom with all their peers around them, with someone lecturing them. They like that environment, and I agree that is a good environment to be in. But for me, I don't. And for me, and I guess the rest of my classmates, it's yeah, it's more about just like getting it done and completing your tasks and being on top of things and not needing so much of the direction from someone else, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Tell everybody where they can find you, and I am sure you will get a lot of questions.
So my Instagram is Macy, Macy, the PA. You can also email me at macy.baig, BAIG, at yale.edu. That's my email address. And I'm happy to answer your questions. I answer them all the time. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.